Who were the 7 sages that helped mankind rejuvenate and rebuild the civilization after the Great Flood? Were they just mere fictional characters, or actually the real members of the lost civilization helping primitive hunter-gatherers rejuvenate and rebuild the civilization after a global cataclysm? My name is Aleksander, and in this episode we are going to talk about the 7 sages and mythologies from all around the world. We'll see that the same characters appear in myths, texts and legends from the ancient world, and that all of those texts from Americas, from Europe, from Asia Minor, from Africa and many more are actually telling us about the same heroes, the same 7 heroes that helped mankind rejuvenate and rebuild the civilization after the great cataclysm of the 9600 BC. (9600 BC is the date which, according to Plato, was the date of the sinking of the lost island of Atlantis, and actually many other myths and stories from all around the world, as I mentioned in my other video which you can find on my channel, tell us about the same time period of the sinking and of the cataclysm of the lost civilization. And actually, as I found out during my researches, many geological evidence supports this idea that during about 9600 BC there appeared a huge cataclysm that almost wiped out the entire humanity, and maybe, who knows, the lost civilization described in many of the ancient texts. But actually in this video we will focus on the 7 sages, because according to many myths concerning this global cataclysm, the 7 sages helped humanity rebuild after this cataclysm. And let's start with the biblical version of Noah. And as we know, the Noah was having his family on the ark, which also with him and with the animals survived the great deluge in the very distant times. And when we actually add together the Noah's family, it will turn out that on the ark there was 8 humans, Noah plus 7 of his family members. And actually very similar situation can be found in the mythology of the ancient India, in which the main deluge story hero is Manu, and actually he also saves on his ark 7 more people, which are called the 7 sages or 7 rishis, from Sanskrit Sapta Rishi. Sapta is 7, Saptan, and Rishi is wise man, sage. And actually, as we see, those 2 versions tell us about the 7 sages that actually help humanity after the Great Flood. When they come out from the ark after the deluge, they help humanity rebuild the civilization anew. And also, similar thing happens in the ancient Mesopotamia, where the 7 sages are called the Apkallu, to which there are also 7, but also to which belongs Oannes, which Oannes is a mythological figure which is half fish, half human. And it is very interesting because we see Oannes is spelled like that, and actually similar hero can be found in the Mayan mythology, which was called by them Uanna. And as we see, those 2 similarities may not be coincidental, because as we'll see in a moment, in the Mesoamerica there are also accounts of the 7 sages helping mankind rejuvenate and rebuild the civilization after the cataclysm. So as we see, Oannes of the Mesopotamian myths and the Uanna of the Mayas are 2 very similar figures, and actually both are half fish and half humanoid. And when it comes to the Mesoamerica, the 7 sages were the characters which are concerned with the god Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl was the Aztec god who, according to myths and legends, after the Great Cataclysm, appeared from the Lake Titicaca. Titicaca is a lake that is the highest lake which is navigable on our entire planet, and which is nearby the ancient or even prehistorical site of Tiwanaku, in which we find many of the huge megaliths that are finely cut with even laser cut precision. And actually, as we see also in the Mesoamerica, there is this story of the 7 sages. The same was with Greece, because in Greece there is also mention of the 7 sages, and actually in the Greek mythology there are 2 floods, the flood of the Deucalion and the one more flood. So as we see, there could have been many catastrophes, and if you are interested in those many catastrophe interpretation of our past, you can write down below. I will prepare some video about it. As we see, the idea of the 7 sages can be found almost all over the world. The similarities not only with the deluge, with the ark, and with the main deluge story hero, which is accompanying these 7 sages, and the names of, for example, Oannes of the Mesopotamia and Uanna of the Mayas are not a mere coincidence. In my opinion, it is all about our very distant past and about factual events of the end of the last ice age, when according to the geologists, in about a few hundred years, sank a total area of about 25 million square kilometers, which is more than the modern North America. So why shouldn't there be a great flood? Was this event described by our ancestor as this great flood? As we see, there are many of the coincidences, as most of the modern and conventional scholars mean by all of those correlations, but I think that it is all about some factual events of our very distant prehistory. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like to my channel, and that's all for today. Thank you and goodbye.